Let's begin with the big story coming in on India and Pakistan, as Indian authorities have caught two Pakistani High Commission officials spying in India. The officials named Abid Hussain and Mohammad Tahir were nabbed after engaging in anti-India activities. They used fake Indian identities to carry out espionage. As per the information available, they worked at the visa section of the Pakistan High Commission in New Delhi. India has declared both the Pakistani officials persona non grata. They will be leaving India later today and will not be allowed to enter Indian soil hereafter. Pakistan, on its part, has rejected the charges. The Pak Foreign Ministry summoned the Indian charge d'affaires to condemn the arrest of the two officials. Islamabad maintains that the allegations remain unsubstantiated. But WION, World is One, has now accessed the fake Aadhaar card used by the Pak embassy officials. The picture on the card matches that of Mohammad Tahir, one of the captured spies. Tahir had assumed a fake identity with the name Nasir Gautam. Now, for more details, let's quickly go across to our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, who's been bringing all the latest developments on this news story. Siddhant, we are learning that the authorities have enough incriminating evidence to establish that these two Pakistan High Commission officials were spying in the country, including that Aadhaar card that has been accessed by you. Do share all those details and evidence with us.
Well, yes, Akanksha, it's a major development when it comes to India-Pakistan relationship. Expelling each other's officials have happened in the past as well, but it comes at a time when the relationship is pretty frosty. So what happened exactly was on Sunday, on a tip of the Indian authorities had laid a trap and these two officials had reached a specific restaurant in Delhi's Karol Bagh area, where they were caught red-handed trying to get or source sensitive information from a specific person that was part of the entire plan. And then, of course, the Indian authorities nabbed both the person, and from them the Indian authorities recovered fake Aadhaar ID as well of a fake person, Nasir Gautam, who is a fake resident of Geeta Colony, which is an area in Delhi. So a lot of evidences the Indian government has got, and immediately the Indian authorities sprung into action. In fact, the Indian Ministry of External Affairs had given a démarche to the DHC of the Pakistani High Commission and told him that these kind of activities is something that India would not like to happen again. Of course, in the past as well, India has strictly asked the Pakistani High Commission not to engage in such kind of activities in 2016 as well. But again, there is a repetition this time around as well. Right.
Now, since you mentioned the démarche, unlike in the case of Kulbhushan Jadhav, it's also important to talk about why these two Pak officials will not be put on trial.
Primarily because they were under the cover of diplomacy, and there is a convention, the Vienna Convention on Diplomacy, which gives immunity when it comes to officials or diplomats of any country working in other country, and that is why we have seen in the past as well that there have been diplomats involved in accidents in which people have died as well, but they are allowed to go primarily because of the convention that covers diplomacy across the world, making sure that the diplomats work without any kind of problem according to the local law. So that is why these two officials are expelled with immediate effect by the Indian government.
Right, Siddhant. Now, as you mentioned earlier also, the current developments have happened at a time when ties between India and Pakistan are at an all-time low. Pakistan continues to deny this incident. In fact, it's condemned the Indian action. However, this is not a first. Important to highlight what happened back in 2016.
Well, in 2016, on 27th of October 2016, the Indian authorities nabbed a person who was working in the Pakistani High Commission, and he was again caught red-handed by the Indian officials. Thereafter, India strongly took the matter with the Pakistani High Commission. In fact, back then the Pakistani High Commissioner was summoned by the then Foreign Secretary of India and given a démarche and asked that this person needs to go. He was expelled, declared person non grata. But what happened after that? Exactly 2 days after that, on 29th of October, the Pakistani government expelled one Indian Indian official who was working in the Indian mission in Islamabad. So do expect this time around also some kind of tit for tat by the Pakistani government as well. We know already that the Pakistan has reacted with a press release, an expected press release, but also a midnight summoning of the Indian Deputy High Commissioner in Islamabad, and of course handing a démarche to him as well. So in India-Pakistan relationship, tit for tat is something that is always expected, and this time around it's coming at a time when relationship is very frosty. We know after the Pulwama terror attack, a relationship was never able to go in positive trajectory, and in fact just few days ago India had requested Pakistan to jointly deal or tackle with the crisis of locusts, but there hasn't been any response by Islamabad.
Thank you so much, Siddhant, for bringing us all those latest developments. Do expect a tit-for-tat reaction. That's what Siddhant Sibal had to say. Now, mass protests have continued across the United States for the 6th consecutive night over the killing of an unarmed black man, George Floyd, at the hands of a white police officer in Minneapolis. Let's also get you some of the latest updates on what is happening currently in the United States. What began as a peaceful demonstration in Minneapolis has now transformed into a wave of outrage, sweeping a politically and racially divided nation. The map on your screen shows the extent of the demonstrations across the entire country. As you can see, both West and East Coast have been gripped by these protests. Minneapolis remains the epicenter. At least 40 American cities have imposed a curfew, with National Guard being called in 15 states and Washington, D.C. More than 2,564 people have been arrested in over 12 U.S. cities over the weekend. Protesters continue to demand for all officers involved in Floyd's death to be charged. Currently, only one officer, Derek Chauvin, who was the one kneeling on Floyd's neck, has been charged with third-degree murder. Let's begin with the capital of Washington, D.C. A nighttime curfew has been imposed on the capital, with Washington Mayor calling for the National Guard to support the police. Protests were focused in the center of the U.S. Capitol, just a few blocks away from the White House. Large fires were seen, with police firing tear gas and pepper spray. In Boston, protesters gathered in a peaceful rally at Massachusetts State House. The police and riot gear were even seen using tear gas and smoke bombs, which some protesters attempted to throw back at the officers. In California, Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency in Los Angeles County. Thousands of protesters took to the streets of Los Angeles to express their anger. Over 530 people were arrested after the protests turned violent in downtown Los Angeles. On the other side of the coast in New York, protesters staged a peaceful demonstration in Times Square, taking a knee in silence. The protest organizers urged the crowd to remain peaceful. But this is just one picture of the protests in New York. Police officers also showed solidarity with the protesters kneeling in the middle of a road in the New York City. This move by the officers made the crowd break out in cheers. In a polar opposite picture, two New York police vehicles drove into protesters blocking streets in Brooklyn. The video on your screens show a police vehicle approaching the crowd with sirens blaring. Protesters were heard screaming, and some climbed onto one vehicle after it stopped. But this is not the only example of police brutality, ironically being showcased at demonstrations protesting the same. In Denver, a protester was shot with a pepper pellet while filming the police at a scene of protest. In Minneapolis, where the protests began, a horrific scene was seen unfolding as a tanker truck drove into protesters. The police have said that the driver was inciting the peaceful protesters and he has since been arrested. It is still unclear whether anyone was gravely injured in the incident or not. But even with protests raging across the entire country, US President Donald Trump continues to avoid the public eye. But the president did not stop tweeting, launching an attack against the Democrats and anti-fascist group Antifa. In a stark contrast, the Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden visited the scene of an anti-racism protest in the state of Delaware. In a tweet, Biden says, and I quote, "We are a nation in pain right now, but we must not allow this pain to destroy us." The tweet shows a picture of him speaking to a black family at the cordoned-off site where protesters had gathered.